Be seated, and I welcome those who are watching by live stream. Good to see all of you on this summer Sunday morning. This morning I want to begin with poetry, but before the shade comes down over your listening, let me say that I was once a baseball player in college, but I was forced to take Religion and Poetry 401. Didn't think I'd like any of it. And Father Lawrence Cunningham enabled me to fall in love with poetry. So I say again, I begin this morning with poetry. There is a song inside of me. I can hardly wait to see what it is I have to say, or the music I will play. It has been so long in coming. First the thought, then some humming. But before I find my key, something stifles it in me. What keeps my song from being sung? Past hurts, deep fears, a timid tongue? What threat stands guard before my face? Tyrants or demons besieging my space? Now it's tired of being repressed. What a shame to keep a song cramped inside us oh so long. Release your song, said the Spirit to me. You'll never be you until your song is free. But while debating, deciding, and getting ready to sing, the song could die like a stillborn thing. Struck by the peril of further delay, my song like a flood came forcing its way, up from within, down from above. A kingdom built on the power of love. Thank God my song has been set free. The rhythm and the words are right for me. Thank God I'm ready to sing out strong. My soul is saved. This is my song. James Forbes, the author of this poem, is trying to remind all of us that we were built for God. You and I were built with God's image, and we were built with skills and talents by which we can upbuild the kingdom, participate in God's world, issue forth our skills and our love so that life could be better for others. The Apostle Paul rings the same theme in his letter to the Galatians appointed for this Sunday, when he says, in effect, that our life is sort of like a tree of life, and on that tree grows fruit that nourishes and abides, that can feed others with love and with power. He names even the fruit of that tree: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-discipline. But the Apostle Paul also cautions all of us as we hear the fruit of the Spirit, those talents that have been built into us and are meant to be expressed in God's world. He cautions us that something can get in the way, can stifle them. As James Forbes says in his poem, but before I find my key, something stifles it in me. What keeps my song from being sung? Forbes asks. Past hurts, deep fears, a timid tongue? What threat stands guard before my face? Tyrants or demons besieging my space? So I ask us this morning, what keeps your song from being sung? The song that's been built into you by a creative, loving God. Enemies? Perhaps some people who are right close to you, or maybe something even within yourself stifles that song, keeps it from being sung. I believe we have little fruit killers, I might call them, little gremlins who hover around inside of us and outside of us, who try to kill the fruit of the Spirit. One of them is the grim reaper of perfection and self-determination. Some of us are led to believe that if we're built for God, then that somehow makes us autonomous, that we're an island, that we're self-determined, that we can figure it out. day by day. Not only figure it out, but that we can fix ourselves. And oh, by the way, not just fix myself, but I'd like to fix a lot of other people. You know people like that? They want to fix you. Some of you are married to somebody like that. Some of us have adult children like that. They want to fix mom and dad. You remember Atlas, don't you? The figure who put the whole world up on his shoulder and thought that he could hoist that up and carry it, for heaven's sake. It's a gremlin of perfection and self-determination. It kills the fruit of the Spirit, squelches it. So I ask this morning, have you forgiven yourself for being imperfect? Have you forgiven yourself for being imperfect? There's a second gremlin who squelches the fruit of the Spirit. And I want to just label it generally entertainment. But let me say some more about this. And that is, many of us feel like inside here is not enough to create joy and purpose and meaning. So we pay other people out there to bring that to us in inordinate amounts, by the way. In our society, I don't know if you've checked the salaries of ball players lately. We pay them huge salaries to entertain us, but not just sports, Hollywood, music, whole host of categories where you and I strive to find joy, meaning, and purpose by paying other people to bring us joy and meaning because we've not been able to figure out how to have it within ourselves. Now, I want to hasten to say I will go to a ball game like the best of them and enjoy the ball game, or Valerie and I going to a Broadway show. I'm not talking about here, there, and yonder. I'm talking about being consumed by this thirst to be entertained constantly by other people. And we pay good money to then find out that they don't satisfy, do they? In fact, we would discover they squelch the very spirit that's in us. There's a third fruit killer that hovers around us and inside of us, and it's called unworthiness. There's a whole range of people who have been raised to feel that they're unworthy, either by a taskmaster parent who is constantly throwing a bony finger at you, or by some critics out there that make you feel small, that diminish the honor that's been built into you. It leads to recrimination, doesn't it? And when we recriminate ourselves, don't you know, we recriminate others. This spirit of criticism bores into us, kills our very spirit and the fruit that grows on our tree, and then we want to kill other people in the same way by being a harsh critic, by saying, you know, you don't measure up, you're not worthy, you don't look right, you don't act right, you don't vote right. There's something about you, we hear constantly, don't we, that somehow you are unworthy. When the question is asked, what are you worth? Sadly, so sadly, many people say, not much. I love the story of the person who discovered by the neurologist that he had a brain tumor and went to see the neurosurgeon, and the neurosurgeon said, you're going to have a brain transplant. And I have three options for you. One is a lawyer's brain that costs $250,000. And I have a physician's brain that costs $500,000. And I have a priest's brain, and it's $1 million. He said, $1 million for a priest's brain? Why so much? And the neurosurgeon said, because it's never been used. Not true. When you and I raise the question about worth and worthiness, can we hear a benevolent, loving God who made us say, do you know how hard I worked to build you the way you are? I fashioned you in your mother's womb. I created you to have my image. Remember the parable of the prodigal son. That young boy left home, went to a far country, squandered his life, and then was in a pigsty. He decided he wanted to go home. What did he expect? He expected recrimination, a big, bold finger to criticize him and cast him out. What did he get? A loving parent running out to greet him, hugging him, welcoming him home, putting the family robe and the family ring on him, restoring him to full measure, and then celebrating that he had discovered his worth. There's a fourth fruit killer. I call it just simply individual achievement. Oh, we've been schooled in this one. We've been schooled by parents and grandparents, by educators, by coaches, by mentors, by a whole host and range of people, that we will discover who we are by what we achieve. Let me say, if achievement is your primary goal, then fear and disappointment will be your attending realities. We can never achieve enough this side of heaven to bring us meaning and purpose. And when we try, fear and disappointment become our mainstays. Many people give away the book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. You know that book? We give that away at graduations. It says to the graduate, you know, you're a self-determined, autonomous being, and you're going to achieve great things. The graduate preacher or speaker usually says a lot about this. We say if you have individual achievement, that somehow you will gain notoriety and meaning in your life. And along the way, what we discover is that pursuit then begins to squelch and kill the fruit of the Spirit. I have this recurring nightmare that somehow you and I might go to our grave, and then on the epitaph on the stone would read something like this: Here lies my beloved friend, whose life came to an untimely end. He worked so hard and struggled so long, but left this world without singing his song. And I say no. I say no to be built for God and to be built for God's world, and that would be our ending. I say no. There's an antidote then to the grimness of fruit killers. It's unmerited, unearned, undeserved, free gift of grace. It comes our way beginning the day we were born, and certainly is added on the day that we're baptized. And there you and I begin to learn that our life is like a tree of life with various fruit that is to nourish and to feed by way of love and generosity. They are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-discipline. Dorothy Day, who's considered the godmother of the modern Catholic worker movement, who gave her life over to the poor, was not always like that. She describes herself when she was a young adult as a self-determined, selfish, disorganized young person. I was drinking heavy, carousing. I had tried suicide twice by the time I was 23. I followed all of my desires. I didn't have any direction, and I had no purpose. But then I got pregnant. And I had that child. This is the way she describes it. If I had written the greatest book, composed the greatest symphony, painted the most beautiful painting, or carved the most exquisite figure, I could not have felt the more inspired than when they placed that child in my arms. It's as if the Spirit embraced me and said, I've got some new values for you, a new set of imperatives to live by, some new fruit on the tree of your life. They are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-discipline. Or as James Forbes pens in his poem, struck by the peril of further delay, my song like a flood came forcing its way, up from within and down from above, a kingdom built on the power of love. Thank God my song has been set free. The rhythm and the words, they're right for me. I'm finally ready to sing out strong. My soul is saved. This is my song. Amen.